deepen your breath and work on your pranayama. And I know you guys have learned quite a few breath techniques here in yoga at Vessel Health and in meditation. And see if you can just incorporate one of those. Maybe not alternate nostril breathing in the bank line, but something that you can do that no one would notice standing next to you. And just use it as an opportunity to calm everything down in your nervous system, central nervous system. And we'll work on a little bit of breath exercise right now. So I'm going to ask you to start breathing in deeply through the nose. And then as you exhale, imagine you're blowing out a candle flame with your mouth. And start doing a little circle with your jaw. So you breathe in with the head right above the spine. Breathe out through the mouth. Bring the jaw and the head forward just slightly. And then as you inhale, bring it back. And at the back of this cycle, make sure that you're not hyperextending the head past the spine and the back and going back too far. You want to stop at the point where the head is right over the spine. So let's move through some of the circles. Inhale through the nose. First the lips and exhale through the mouth. Bring the chin forward. Again, through the nose and back. And out through the lips and forward. One more time, inhale through the nose and back. And exhale through the mouth and forward. As you inhale and come back to the starting position, very softly open your eyes. Maybe blink a couple times to get your focus. And check the posture once again. Make sure that the shoulders are right over the hips. And just very softly feel the gravity pushing down and feel your feet on the mat and how you're grounded here as well. And bring your hands down to your side, gaze down, inhale, bring your arms overhead, follow with your gaze up to the top, and exhale your hands to your heart in prayer position. One more time, hands down. Inhale, look up. Exhale, hands to prayer position. And again, drop the hands and the gaze down. Inhale, sweep the hands overhead, bring the gaze up. Stop here for just a second, and very slowly exhale and come down. Yes. Bring your weight forward on your chair just a little bit. And then move the flesh aside so you're right on your sits bones. Make sure the soles of the feet are planted firmly on the mat so that you're not sliding around. And we're going to do a couple side twists that open up the spine and the side body. They say that all of our yoga starts with the spine, so we're going to be concentrating on that. We did a little bit last week and this coming week as well. So reach around to the left, see if you can grab a hold, or to the right, sorry, see if you can grab a hold of the chair with your left hand and bring that right shoulder back over the chair so that you're opening your chest up to the side. And as you do this, check in with the knees, make sure the knees are both pointed forward and not starting to swivel to the side because they do want to do that. Bring your head forward so you're just looking out straight from over the chest, and then again exhale and bring the neck around and look to the side of that shoulder. Look on those muscles that we use when we're checking for traffic before we change lanes. Bring the chin back to the center. Inhale and exhale it out over the shoulder again. And back to the center. And bring the arms around to the front. Same thing on the other side. Right hand goes on the left edge of the chair. See if you can bring that left shoulder to the back. And then again, check in with the knees. Make sure the hips are equal distance and the knees are both pointed straight forward. And then raise the torso up and rotate to the left. Inhale, bring the chin just to the center so you're facing forward. And exhale, bring it back around. One more time. Inhale and bring it to the center. Exhale and bring it back around, looking over the shoulder. Release. And come back to center. Check your stance again, make sure you're feeling solid. And we're just going to bring our hands up and bring our hands together. I like to just bring them like this and very softly close the fingers. So we don't want to do any fist actions here. We don't want anything to feel too tight. And check in with the elbows. Are they at the shoulder height? And then again, we're going to do the twist over to the right. And very softly bring it back to the center. Inhale to the left. And bring it back to center. Inhale to the right. Back to center. Our elbows starting to get lazy. Bring them up one last time. Inhale to the left. And exhale back to center. And let's loosen those shoulders up that we just gave some attention to. Bring the head down to the chest. Draw the shoulders down in the sockets. And then bring the shoulders forward. Strive to reach those earlobes with the shoulders. Roll them back. Roll the shoulder blades back down the back. Keep the head down and centered. See if you're noticing any little noises that your body's making to you. I know mine is today. One more time. Forward, exaggerated motion up to the ears. Roll them back. Bring the chest forward and shoulders down. When you get to the bottom, roll them back up towards the back. Bring them up and roll them forward. One more time. Roll back. Up high towards the back of the ears and forward. Nice and stop and bring the head up. Grab a hold of the right leg of the chair with the right hand. And we're going to take the left palm and place it facing up towards the ceiling and sweep it up overhead as you bend that right elbow. Nice big stretch on the left side of the body. Send some energy out through the fingers. Inhale just a bit and then deepen it just slightly more. See if you can rotate the torso and look up at the ceiling. Big breaths here. And back up. Nice form rise. Grab the left arm, the right palm goes up. Sweep the arm overhead. As you bend the left elbow, come deeper into stretch. Again, inhale, bring it up slightly. Exhale, bring it down and rotate and look up. And back to center. Couple big deep breaths here. Go ahead and maintain the grasp on the legs of the chairs on both sides. We're going to give our feet a little loving detail here. I'm going to ask you to very slowly roll up on the balls of the feet and then up on the tippy toes. Hold there for just a moment and then bring it back down. First on the balls of the feet and then rolling it all the way down to the heels. And you may need to come forward a little bit like I do. Once again, make sure the posture is good on the top of the body. Inhale, heels come up to the ball of the feet, right under the pads, and up to the very tippy toes. And exhale. One more time, inhale up to the balls of the feet, to the pads of the toes, under the tippy toes. And this time, bring it around to the outside and give those pinkies some loving attention to. And back up to the center. And bring it back down. We're going to work on left brain, right brain things for just a few moments and see if we can start to move out of our warm up and wake our brain up a little bit. So scoot back to that middle position there so we're nice and solid. And so we're going to be lifting up the right arm and the left leg at the same time and marching. And see, check your weight there. You want to be to a place where it's comfortable. Keep everything nice and crisp. So you want the elbows bent, the knees are bent, the ankles are bent, everything's kind of at a right angle. A little cartoon. Feel free to throw some jazz hands in there. Stretch out the fingers if you want to. Yeah, and try it moving to the side a little bit, maybe bringing the elbows to the knees. See how that feels. And then keep everything crisp and straightforward so you're running like Tom Cruise. I just saw the previews for his new movie. He really does run like this. I mean, faster, but
We saw the movie, yes.
Did you? Did you like it?
That's great.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good.
Big popcorn bucket for that one, right?
I'm not a popcorn eater, but it's definitely busy.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to it. Great. And bring it all back to center. Let's place the hands on the knees. Do some big circles here and loosen this up. And back around the other direction. All right. And we'll start stretching out the lower body. So bring your heels forward. Once again, make sure you got a good little grip there on your mat. Bring the chest up and the heart forward. And we're going to walk the fingers down the legs. Supported forward fold. And yogi's choice where you want to be today. If you want to really go for it, you stretch farther than you did last week. If you're in that frame today, great. You want to just kind of hang out after the holiday. You do what feels right for your body and your spirit today. Inhale in, exhale. See if you can walk those fingers just a little bit further. I also was thinking in line with moving into a new mood and all the changes, something we can do, I catch myself doing, go ahead and walk the fingers back up. There's certain poses that before you go into it, as you're thinking, you think, oh, I don't like that pose. I really like that pose. And see if you can let go of those thoughts and find something new to explore about that pose that maybe you didn't realize what it was doing for you, or that it's helping you build that mental strength or whatever. And same thing, if there's poses that you do in your own practice over and over again, you just love them, maybe push those to the side for a minute and try a couple minutes. Just use this as an opportunity to pick up some new thoughts about our body and our poses. Let's do that again. Chest up, shoulders back. Inhale, exhale, walk those fingers forward. Bring the forehead down towards the knees. See if you can stop and feel all the places where your body's letting go. For me, it's very much behind the knees and in the sacrum and between the shoulder blades and the back of the neck. You see if you've got any other places that are really working on your behalf to letting go. All right. Then come back up. Let's do a couple standing poses today. Nothing real hardcore, just to get us ready for this new week. So have you come to the back of your chair and grasp it with both hands. Make sure you're not going to trip on the, in fact, I should probably rewind that way. I'm going to trip on that edge. All right, and then let's come into mountain pose. So we'll raise the spine up nice and tall and tuck the pelvis under. Bring your gaze forward. Check the weight in your feet. Make sure it's evenly distributed front to back and that the knees are pointed straight forward. And for just a moment, bring the hands out to your side with the palms open and roll those shoulders back. Open the palms. Great, and then big inhale, exhale, hands back to the top of the chair. And you want to start with your feet about 6 to 8 inches apart. So again, make sure they're parallel. And we're just going to bring the weight to the left foot, raise the right one up to the count of 3. Hold there and feel that little ping in the thigh and bring it back down. Bring the weight to both feet. Rotate to the, alternate to the other side on the right side. Lift the left one up very slowly, bring it to the top. And hold it, wake up that thigh muscle, and bring it back down. Change sides for the weight again, so your weight's on your left foot. Bring the right one up. And notice as you're raising, do you have a tendency to hunch over or kind of tweak the weight to the one side? Try and keep everything centered and up high. And one more time on the right. Down. And the left. And hold. And down. Keep the feet at that same 6 to 8 inches apart. And we're going to come up kind of version of what we did on the ground, but it's a little bit more intense when you're standing. Bring it back down to the heels and up to the balls of the feet. See if you can even send the arches out to the side and down. And again, you'll probably hear some crackling noises here. And last time up. And I'm going to have you bring your left foot or your right foot to the back. Point the toe. Bring the chest forward so that it's just slightly over the back of your chair. And we're going to do some little pulses on that side. Keep the knee straight but not locked. Toes are pointed. Keep the toes pointed towards the floor. Shoulders front and center. Great. And back to the starting point. Left side, bring the chest forward, shoulders back, toes go back, and pulse. Great, and bring it back. And now you want to spread the stance out so that you're about 1.5 feet apart, and you want your knees going out over the big toe. So raise up the feet, spread the toes just a little bit, check those knees and make sure they're in the right spot. Then we're going to do a little ballet move here. So again, bring the heart up, which brings the pelvis forward a little bit, and come down very slowly. And you stop where it feels good for your legs and your knees. We don't want to do any damage here. We're just bringing a lot of good movement to these big joints in our body. Down. You can even do ballet arms if you like to. If you do ballet in the past, great.
Did you do ballet as a child?
Very young, yeah, very young.
So did I.
Did you?
That's what little girls did.
Oh, it was
Did you dance,
wonderful.
Nope.
No?
What were you interested in when you were little? What kind of?
So you have climbing trees,
No
Pam?
dancing, no coordination.
See,
hard to
I
believe.
find it hard to believe. Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You seem very coordinated to me.
No.
We do our Christmas cards with tutus this year. Great, come back to center and holding onto the chair, just go ahead and alternate, come up to the, on the right side and then on the left. And then if you're feeling, stay here if this is feeling real good, or if you're up to it, bring it back down where we just were a little bit lower, and now bring the opposite sides up.
The word plie.
It is plie.
Gee,
Good.
it is. Okay, that's something I learned when I was like 6.
Good memory, good memory, all right. Great. And then step the feet back. Keep the hands holding on to the chair. Drop the head down in between the elbows.
Drop the shoulder blades down to the back. End up in kind of an L shape. And you want to keep your ears close to the biceps, so don't let your head drop forward too much. Just keep it in a straight line. So the legs are straight. Nice and easy pose, no tenseness around the knees. And move very softly with your breath for this. So we're going to inhale and raise up just slightly, and then exhale and bring everything down towards the ground. So it's a tiny movement. There you go, nice. And exhale it down. Once more, inhale that. And exhale it down. Up. And exhale down. And come back all the way up to standing. And we're going to come around to the front side of the chair. Get a little bit more steady of a grasp here. So you want to grab a hold behind the two front legs. So it's nice and solid. Keep it on that. And we're going to do the same thing here. So this is going to be a little deeper. Pay attention to the shoulders and the hips. Do not overdo it here. If you come down 20% and that's all your body's saying it wants to do, then just stop there. It's still growth. So exhale it down. Inhale it up. And just, you don't need to come all the way up. Just like a half moon shape with your head. And up. And down. All right. And we'll move through some warrior poses here. So come on back down and enjoy sitting on the chair. And there's a couple ways we can do this. I'll show you. You get half the workout on these mornings moving the chairs around, I think. Okay, so we're going to go into warrior 2 on the chair. So this is basically a supported pose. So you want to come so that your knee is on the front, right side of the chair, and your hip is moving towards the back side. And then we're going to be close to the front, so this left leg can just fall down with ease out of the joint, and just see if you can feel what that feels like without having to hold it with your foot or stretch it, or you can just feel that hip joint kind of open up there, and feel free to move that flesh down away from the hip bone and open it things up a little bit. That's a big joint, and it loves to be loved and taken care of. And then, so, and a couple versions with your legs. So you can bring the leg out to the side here. You want to do it so that the outer edge of the foot is able, the pinky edge is able to press into the ground. And if it's not, bring the foot forward a little bit until you can get that pinky on the ground. Good, good job. Great. And then bring the torso up high. Rotate your shoulders so you're kind of looking out towards the corner of your mat. And then bring the arms up. Yeah, and Pam, feel free to drop it down like this if that feels better, if that feels like it's not comfortable. It's comfortable for you. Great. Bring the right arm down. Drop it on that right thigh. On your bent leg. Great, no. That's where, no, you're going to be facing me. I think you're doing it just opposite me. There you go. That's right. Yeah. And then this arm comes overhead. Great. Or if that feels too much, you can have the arm straight up, or just feel free to put it behind your waist. Yeah. Great. And then just a little bit. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too much on that. All right. Inhale, exhale, and bring that left arm down. Bring it around the back, bind it around the waist, and then roll that shoulder up towards the ceiling and look up at the same time. Again, make sure you're not starting to crunch into that bent knee. You're holding yourself up with the chest forward, just very lightly resting that forearm on the knee. You want this to look good, looks great. And exhale and come up. It's weird when you're used to doing that standing to make modifications in a chair, isn't it? It's like, oh, what am I doing? This hip over
It's
here.
weird.
I know, yeah. Come back to the center. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So knee's gonna go on the side of the chair, move those hips towards the back so everything's nice and straight. Make sure these toes are heading straight out. And then notice, maybe the last time you were able to stretch your leg way out, no problem. This side, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can only go this far. It's okay, both sides of the body are always different. And it even matters what you did this weekend, how far it's gonna change. Great. And then we'll bring our torso up, rotate it around to the front, and raise the arms up into warrior two. And I noticed my shoulders wonky on this side. I'm getting ready to get treatment on it, so looking forward to being able to be equal. Great. Inhale, exhale that front forearm on that leg and bring the right arm where your extended side angle is going to be today. Inhale, and as you exhale, rotate and look under that forearm. And bring that right arm back, bring it around the waist. Roll that right shoulder back and look up to the side. And come back to center. Couple more seated sun salutations to keep our breath at the right pace. Close the eyes. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, prayer hands to heart center. Inhale, bring the arms back to cactus arms. Open the chest up to the ceiling. Exhale. Bring the chest down to the legs. Seated forward fold. And back up to sitting. Stop and take a couple big cleansing breaths here. And one more time to the salutation. Drop the hands down. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, arms to heart center, hands to heart center. Inhale, open the heart, bring the elbows back. Exhale, bring the chest down to the thighs. Let the hands drop towards the floor. Drop the head down between the knees. And take your rest. Roll back up to a seated position. And we'll do a couple more strengthening things on the lower body before we move down onto the floor. So go ahead and scoot yourself back again. Hold on to the chairs again. Bring the feet up, bring the toes forward, and flex. And flex. And just close your eyes as you're doing this. And pay attention to the release that you feel on the back of the calf. Really seems to be some energy that gets balled up back there. When we do this, you kind of feel it being moved along. Drains clogged and finally flushes. And then when you get to your next flex, go ahead and just some circles going around to the right. And then once more around to the left. And we'll do alternate legs. So the right leg will come up very slowly. Back down to count 4 or 5. Left leg up. And if you feel like your balance is good, feel free to release one of your hands and place it on the top of the thigh. And just feel the muscles as you're doing this.
I feel like there's 4 just right above the knee that are really helping me out. And even though this is a seated pose, and it's not too strenuous compared to what we do on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you're still developing a lot of strength in that area for your walk and for stair, especially for stair climbing. And maybe hiking or whatever else you've got coming up this summer. And one more time on the left leg. How do you guys feel about moving on to the floor? Does that sound good? Okay, great. To the side so you can see a little better. Since I came in Zoom. I think everybody extended their holiday an extra day. There's nobody on the road when I was coming over here this morning either.
Did you have a good holiday?
I did.
Did you
I
do anything?
did. Just, we went to the park and I delivered a bunch of stuff to clients and just got things done and we spent time out in the garden, which was lovely. So it was just,
Nice.
yeah, just calm.
Just
Yeah.
kind of doing stuff around the house.
Exactly, which feels good.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
What
let's,
about you, Pam?
Yeah, we went to the movie, went to lunch with friends.
Oh, nice. Where'd you go to lunch?
What Scarpas? We love Scarpas.
I love Scarpas too.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a million years.
Yeah.
They don't have the one now, which is on Academy.
I
Right,
know.
17.
Oh,
They put
okay.
a gas station where everything is. So let's start by bringing your knees up to your chest. Open everything in and notice if you've got any tightness from, we did a lot of work with the legs here, even though we were seated, and make sure that there's no areas that are feeling too tight. If so, get your hands in there and give yourself a massage, but just pull everything into the chest and just notice the release that's happening. And then extend your arms out to the side with the palms down. And turning your head over to the left, just very slowly start to drop those knees over to the right. See if you notice any difference in the length of the stretch here compared to maybe when you started yoga, maybe even just from a couple weeks ago. Go ahead and bring those knees back up to the center. Very gently bring the knees off to the right and drop the knees off to the left. And hold hands. And keep your knees together if possible. Pay attention again if one side's different than the other. And a lot of times it depends if you're right-handed or left-handed, or if you always carry a heavy handbag on one side, or you always carry your groceries on one side. One side might give you a little bit more noise than the other side. Just send it some of that breath, that deep cleansing breath that you're doing, and bring it back to center. And when you come back to your starting position, place your feet on the outside of the mat on either side, so your knees are now far apart. And then same type of motion, we're going to bring both knees over to the right. See if you can really press that left knee down into the ground, and you'll feel that stretch. And a lot of the same places as when we do side angle pose or warrior in the side body through the hip. And practice that little method of inhaling and coming out of it just slightly, and exhaling deeper, deeper into it. And bring the knees back up to the center. Do the same thing on the left now, and then drop the knees over to the left. Concentrate on that right knee and see if you can really send it towards the mat. Also pay attention to the shoulders and make sure they're both still firmly on the mat. Take a breath in and come out just slightly. Exhale and move back into it.
And now let's do some windshield wiper motions. Feet in the same starting position, but just going back and forth. So over to the right. Bring it up and drop it down over to the left. And let's go up to center and over to the left. Up to center and over to the left. And back to center. Extend your right leg out towards the edge of the mat, bottom of the mat. Bring your left leg over the top of it. And continue with that left knee over to the right side of the body. So you're basically crossing over your body with that knee towards the foot. So you guys are over towards the bosom with that knee. And if it helps, you can raise up a little bit on your hip and rotate so you're laying on the side of your hip. So it's like this. So instead of trying to do it from here straight over, raise yourself up and come over like that a little bit and then extend the leg. And you'll be able to go up farther. Good, so good. Inhale and deeper into the sun. Great, then back up to center. We'll do the same thing other side. Extend the left leg all the way down towards the mat. Bring the right leg up. Well, before you bring the right leg up, do that little trick again. Raise the hips up and come over on the left hip just a little bit. Then when you bring your right knee over, it doesn't have to go so far. And see if you can bring the knee towards the floor. And then bring it back to center. Knees back up to the chest. One it again. And grabbing a hold of the bottom of the knees, do some big circles. So you're going outward with the knees towards the outside of the mat. Bring it down towards the bottom of the mat. Back into the center and back up. And when you come to the bottom, go in the opposite direction. Down. Roll over onto our tummies. Bring your chin to rest on your hands. Point the feet. Press the top of the left foot into the mat. And take a big inhale. And as you exhale, bring the right foot up, pointing the toe towards the middle of the wall behind you. Concentrate that you're pushing down through that left hip into the mat, holding the weight on the left side. Ribs equal, pushing down from the ribs, and bring that right leg down. Big deep breath here. Inhale, point the right toes, bring them up towards the middle of the wall behind you. Press down through the elbows, through the chest, into the mat. Remember to breathe. And release it down. Left side, point those toes. We're going to push into the top of the right foot and the right thigh on the mat. Inhale and exhale, bring that left foot up high. Point the toes towards the middle of the wall behind you. Bring it on down. Big deep breath here. Inhale and exhale, point that left foot. Press the right thigh down as you bring that left toe pointing towards the wall behind you. And hold just for a second and bring it on down. Nice work. Bring your head to the side and tap the toes. And very gently bring your head back to center and bring yourself up onto your forearms for Sphinx Pose.
So look down and make sure your elbows are right under your shoulders. You don't want them to be out too far because that's hard on you. Right underneath. And so this means they should also be pretty close to your rib cage, which is ideally when we go through chaturanga or any kind of yoga push-up, this is how we do it. And we're mainly working our triceps rather than other areas like some other kind of push-ups. And then you want your hands to be coming out straight from your elbows. So again, watch the direction that it's coming out straight. Spread the fingers out to help with your balance. And then take your hip bones and work them into the mat. Make sure you're really pressing there. So just as when we stand in mountain pose and we kind of tilt our pelvis forward to protect our back, we're doing the same thing here in laying down position. We're tilting our pelvis into the mat to help with our balance. We've got our feet about a foot apart and we're using our thigh muscles to push into that mat. And we're using the tops of our feet to push into the mat. And so now that everything down there is grounded, what you're going to do is roll the shoulders back and bring that chest forward and bring the head up. And we don't want to hyperextend the head so that the neck's uncomfortable, but you just want to gaze kind of at the horizon in front of you or slightly below it. And as you're holding here and breathing, continue to move the shoulders back and down and to bring that chest forward. So it's almost like we're pushing everything through at the top of the body and we're pushing down at the bottom of the body. It's almost like one big isometric exercise. And lastly, as you're settling all the muscles into place, pay attention to your face. And if you're kind of holding anything tight, if you need to let it go. If you're clenching your breath at all, now that you're opening that chest and sending the heart forward, see if you can bring even more air into the spine. And at the beginning, as we talked about letting things go, we're moving into this new phase, new month, new moon. If there's anything from May that you just want to get rid of it, now's the time. Let it out. Leave it behind, and we are moving forward. Which is kind of what this pose feels like, is that you're really pulling yourself forward with your elbows and you're pushing down in the back. And very softly start to bring the elbows out to the side. Bring your head down to the hands. Bring the head to the other side opposite of where you were laying it before. And take a couple deep breaths here. And when you're ready, come back up into tabletop and back down into child's pose. So knees on the outside of the mat, toes together. Melt those hips down to the heels. Can you do it with your knees apart, or is that too hard on the knees?
Oh, knees apart.
Yeah, knees on, so the knees are on the, knees are like this, and the heels are together, the toes are together. There you go. Yeah, and then the arms are going to come forward, and this is a good place to use a block if you're not feeling too stretchy today, too flexible. And you can place your forehead on the block, and then when you do stretch your arms out, it's not such a harsh movement for your shoulders. It's a little softer. If that still feels like too much for the arms, feel free to bring them back down by your feet and let them fall forward like this. That's another good one. But the main focus here is we're working on our lower back that we just gave a little challenge to when we were in Sphinx Pose, and now we're doing just the opposite. So that we give the spine an opportunity to move back in the opposite direction. And after that's gotten to feel pretty good, we're going to modify it just a little bit. Have you come up. And this time we're going to put our knees together. And this is where it can be a challenge. So if your knees are feeling too tight, it's good to put a blanket back here. I've got one in here. You Okay, do you want a blanket?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let me get you one. Yeah, that makes a big difference at least. Here. Right there. Oh, no, it's okay.
I used to be able to sit on my feet when I was little.
Yeah.
I can't do it now.
No, there's a lot of things I used to do with not even a little one. The last few years, it's gotten even worse. So.
Good and comfortable. And this may be full of too much for you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it nice? Give
Yeah,
you something
much
to
better.
come back
Thank
down
you.
on. Yeah, so you're gonna do it with your knees together here. And we're going to bring our forehead back down to the block. And this time, if you did have your hands up in front, bring them around to the back and grab a hold of your feet. And so the idea here is, in this last Sphinx pose, we were really bringing our shoulders back and dropping them down the back. Now you're gonna do just the opposite. You're gonna bring them forward. And just imagine you've got like a 2-pound weight pulling down on either shoulder, pulling the shoulders towards the mat, so that whole back area between the shoulder blades is spreading out. And moving away from the spine, moving down to the mat. And while you're at it, pay attention to the lower back and the sacrum. And see if you can imagine that I'm right there pushing down as I did when we were in child's pose, and kind of bringing all that down to the mat too. And if you notice the little teeny tiny movements that are happening around the knees, on the top of the feet, and the lower back. And if you're grasping really tightly onto your heels, which I just noticed I was doing, don't hold so tightly. That's a good motto for today overall. Just very gently hold onto the feet. Don't grab onto them. And see if that helps. Now maybe the elbows are dropping towards the mat. The shoulders coming down just a little bit farther. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Come up to a hero's pose if that feels good with the blanket there. If not, you probably want to sit on the block. Does that feel okay? Okay, great. Great. All right. Couple deep breaths here. And then we'll move our goodies to the side and come around and start to move into a final resting pose. I think it might be fun to do some a little bit of support today. So I'm going to have you guys do cobbler's pose with the bottom of the body. So we'll bring the soles together. And we're going to place these blocks underneath your knees for support. And depending on how far down your feet are and how flexible your knees and your hips are, will determine what point you will stop with the block. So you want it to feel good and not that it's cutting into the side. How's that feel? Okay. Yeah, does that feel okay? Do you feel like you're having to hold them? No. Okay. All right, great. How about you? Good. Oh, you're good. All right, great. And then you're going to place your hands out in front. Right now with you. Place your hands out in front. Kind of roll your shoulders just like you did in rabbit pose, and very gently come down. Maybe even place the hands on the belly and see, oh, what's going on there? And feel free if you need to hang on to your legs, because it's harder to do this with the legs apart than it is with the legs together. Don't want to hurt the lower back. And come all the way down. You may need to adjust the blocks. They move down there. Yeah, so you don't want to, and once again, check if you're feeling any effort with those knees that you're having to hold gravity or hold the knees to the side, you want it to feel like you can just completely let go. Feet and legs. And then with upper body, bring the shoulders back to the mat. Maybe raise the hips up, lower the sacrum down so it's really supported. And then place one hand on your belly, your right hand on your belly,
and your left hand on your heart. And start to go through that deep releasing breath that we did at the beginning, where you're inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Very lightly as you're resting, I'm going to come by and put that blanket over you and do a little reading. So you can put that to the little base point of being there tuned in. It's all nice and yummy. Oh, it's okay. So this is about accepting change. Life is change. The way that we see things today does not have to be the way we saw them yesterday. That is because the situations, our relationships to them, and we ourselves have changed in the interim. This notion of constant change suggests that we do not have to be discouraged. Avoid grasping. Patanjali advises us in his Yoga Sutras to accept change. You can do this by adopting an approach of apragraha, one of yoga's 5 yamas or ethics. Meaning non-grasping, this can be interpreted as not being possessive about things or people, and therefore not trying to stop them changing. Let go. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Visualizing red. The color red has an empowering effect when you meditate on it. Related to the element fire, it builds the confidence, courage, and open-hearted warmth necessary to accept that people and situations change. Visualizing red also supports your heart, where release from any sense of grasping in life begins. Close your eyes, concentrate on the Sita Kash mind screen in front of your closed eyes, and visualize a rich shade of red. Feel it empowering you to let go of assumptions. And finally, change is constant. Resistance is optional. Take a couple more deep breaths. One final letting go of anything that you don't want to take out of this room. And very gently begin to move over to your right side into a fetal position. Keeping in mind you've got blocks all around you. And when you're ready, go ahead and come up to seated. And with your eyes closed, bring your hands to heart position in prayer pose.
and feel all the excitement and the potential and the change that's coming ahead this week. And embrace it with your best Yogi spirit.